This video is brought to you by a huge mountain of drugs. Ognis versus Xur the Enchanter, and we've got a pretty heavy hand there, so we'll have to go down a card. And that's looking a lot better. Get rid of a basic mountain. So we'll just shock down the Overgrown Tomb and play out the Ginger Brute, which does have haste. Put our opponent on that 40 turn clock. And it's a Sensei's Top for the Esper player. Draw ourselves a Plumb the Forbidden. Let's go for the Rootbound Crag and the Arcane Signet. Then we'll be able to hold up the Vamp Tutor as well. Our opponent holding up double blue, they don't know that we have a Cavern of Souls yet. I've held that in hand on purpose. So maybe we go for getting down the commander and then go for Toski after that. Yeah, we'll put Toski on top, seeing as how it can't be countered. Play Cavern of Souls and we will name Warrior. So now getting to swing in with 2 haste creatures. We'll trigger the Ognis and we'll get a couple of tap treasures. Our opponent spins the top and they managed to fix their white mana, so might be holding up Void Rend or something. Bolt of Nihilea will make it difficult to block our creatures, but we're certainly going in for the Toski here. So I'm hoping that we get to keep both of our hasty creatures, mainly Ognis, in play here, because we will get to draw 2 if we manage to hit our opponent. But it could be that they have some removal for us. Looks like they do. Yeah, and it is the Void Rend as we predicted. Don't think there's much point going Plumb the Forbidden. We can hold on to that. We'll swing in with our Ginger Brute, and this will still draw us a card with Toski. Get ourselves into Robber of the Rich, which potentially playing into a board wipe. Yeah, I'll hold on to Robber of the Rich because I want to hold up Plumb the Forbidden just in case our opponent goes for a Toxic Deluge or something. Plus, if we played Robber of the Rich with these tokens, we won't be able to afford our commander next turn. Okay, and there is a Detention Sphere, so down will go our Toski. At least they are shields down at the moment. I think they're missing a land drop here as well. Okay, speaking of which, we get a Nature's Law. Unfortunately, can't afford to do that before Ognis. The treasure tokens that we just used to recast our commander are going to replace themselves here. Hopefully, we'll actually keep Ognis in play this time. Spinning the top again during the main phase. Noteworthy that you can do this during the upkeep and then dictate what you're going to draw for the turn, which might have been what they should have done if they're eager to get into lands. And then drawing a card with the Sensei's Top, and that manages to land them a Bad River. Okay, so now we get a Loyal Apprentice. We've got Robber of the Rich as well. Our opponent's going to have more hand in us after we get down Robber of the Rich, so that will trigger that. And they're either bluffing or considering some kind of interaction here. Deciding to go for Arcane Denial, so we'll draw a couple of cards off that. So in that case, let's drop the Loyal Apprentice. We'll get 2 haste creatures out of that. Loyal Apprentice triggers during the beginning of combat phase, brings us in a hasty token. And that means that we get 4 triggers with the Ognis, and we're looking pretty good for holding up Plumb the Forbidden as well. We know they're drawing into Sensei's Top this turn. They do get another card as well. Sacking the Bad River to get themselves a swamp or island. We draw ourselves a Stomping Ground and a Toxic Deluge off the Arcane Denial. And there we see ourselves a Winds of Wrath. They took a while to decide on that. Luckily we've held up Plumb the Forbidden, so we'll sacrifice all our stuff here. And that means that we get 4 copies of the Plumb the Forbidden, totaling 5 life and 5 cards for only 2 mana at instant speed. Okay, so now we've got Laelia. We're going to make a land this turn anyway, so we'll hold off on the Laelia. Might be able to get more lands out of that. Marionette Master will be 4. We crack 4 of these. That's 4, 8, 12 and 16. Gets them pretty close. So maybe we just try and whack them with a Questing Beast this turn. In which case we can go Nature's Law first, because we don't want to crack any of these treasures if that's the plan. Throw out an untapped Bayou with that. Hit our opponent for 4 damage, and it might be that they throw out the Xur and hold up counter magic next turn to protect their Xur, in which case we might not be able to land this, but they can't block the Questing Beast with their commander anyway, so yeah, might still be able to get past them and just go wide over the next few turns. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the plan as of right now is play the Marionette Master, then crack some treasures and get rid of them that way. I assume they'd need another land in order to play Xur and hold up counter magic. Going for the Brainstorm first, seem to be really struggling on lands, thankfully for us. They play out a Bojuka Bog as their land for the turn, so only 4 mana held up here. And then it is a Crystal Ball, so yeah, I think we've got free reign to do whatever we want here pretty much. Could still have a Force of Will or something. Draw into a Gruul Spellbreaker. Let's play out the Marionette Master. That does enter play, so we get a Fabricate for 3. They've got one last chance to go swords onto that or something. It turns out they did have it. That's what they needed, a Path to Exile. So I'll go for the Laelia this turn then, and we'll really try and hammer home a lot of damage. Might as well get a little bit out of the Marionette Master, even if it is just a Lightning Bolt. That gets exiled. We do get to search for a land here. I think it can just be a mountain. We've got a fair amount of red. Play out the Laelia with the floating mana. And we'll swing in at our opponent for 4, 5, 6 and 7 damage. Oh, that's a shame. Just one shy of the Magda. Knocking our opponent down to 6, so should be able to get it. I would have thought they do have more mana this turn though. Scrying for 2 with the Crystal Ball, doing that during the main phase again. And our opponent scoops there. They didn't have the best of luck apparently. That was your classic aggro versus control game. And I think it was fairly quick, so we'll try another one. Ognis versus Muldrotha this time, and we've got almost all the black mana for Necropotence. Would be nice to ramp. Captain Lannery Storm can get us into treasures. Yeah, it's pretty slow, but I'll keep it. We are on the play at least. There we see ourselves a Trinket Mage. And yeah, maybe it's worth just going for the Boseiju now then. See what they go for with this. It's probably a Soul Ring. No, it is a now Spell Bomb, which is a bit of an all-star, an undersung all-star in Muldrotha. You can draw a card every turn and exile your opponent's stuff at a fairly consistent rate. Oh, I think it costs 2 actually, doesn't it, to do this? Yeah, don't have a legendary in play, so scratch that. Something to do on turn 2. That is a Verdant Catacombs for us. We'll drop the Llanowar Wastes. And yeah, we're just holding up Boseiju here apparently. I'll do it during my opponent's upkeep. There's every chance that they could have some counter magic here, but we'll make them use it. Successfully managing to blow that up. That's really good. I dare say if we'd blown the Mana Crypt up with Trinket Mage on the stack, they still would have gone for a Soul Ring, so they've missed their opportunity to get the fast mana there now. Curious that they didn't go for black mana, so that might tell us about something that's in their hand. Well, there's some black mana in Temple of Malady. Shocking us with the Trinket Mage, and then holding up the blue mana. There is a Toski for us, so yeah, they're holding up counter magic. I'd rather they countered the Lannery Storm than the Necropotence, so we'll crack this. That can be black and red because we do want triple black, so bad lands. Play out the Lannery Storm. Turns out they do have the counter, and of course it's a mana drain, so mana drain and fast mana, as well as a tutor, going pretty well for them. So already seeing a Muldrotha this turn potentially, which means they get the Mana Crypt back straight away. There is a Castle Vantress. Not going for the Muldrotha, instead it is Ugin the Ineffable, playing out that now Spell Bomb. And I think we've already lost this one. Getting to a mountain for the turn. I think it has to be Necropotence here, while I think their shield's down. Draw 5 cards here with the Necropotence. I'll have to discard that Balefire Dragon. If we draw into 2 fast mana pieces, then it could be that we can actually cast the dragon, but I'm not hopeful. Okay, getting to Magda. We've got a land for next turn now. Bedevil can get rid of the Ugin, so that's good. Yeah, get rid of Balefire Dragon. Does get exiled to the Necropotence. Now Spellbomb, going to crack and exile all of our stuff. We don't really have anything in there anyway. Saw Ugin blow up the Necropotence there, decided not to go for even more life into that. And Narset has come down. That has revealed to us they have Elixir of Immortality available to them. We draw into a forest. I think we might have to go for Bedevil this turn. So in that case we'll play a swamp, play Bedevil onto the Ugin, which I'm sure we'll see again very soon. And then it's just Magda, unfortunately, not doing very well at all. Turn 5, and yeah, haven't been getting into any of our smaller, hastier stuff. Haven't even got to play the commander yet. Another walker, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Going for Brainstorm with Jace. And then minusing down on the Narset again. Reveals to us Elixir of Immortality again. Oh, they must have put Elixir of Immortality back on top with Jace. So we definitely know that they have that in hand again. Okay, Old Gnawbone not doing too well on the mana front, unfortunately. Drop a Forest. And we'll just try going for Ognis. Surprisingly, that actually lands. So now we can swing in towards Jace and encourage them to block with that Spirit. Do get a treasure token for doing so. And they decide on a double block, so we'll take out the Trinket Mage first. Jace going for a Brainstorm again. And wouldn't you know, another Planeswalker, Ashiok, followed by a Lotus Petal, or a Jeweled Lotus even, so probably going for Muldrotha here. They play the Mana Crypt out of the bin as well as a land, and straight into Trinket Mage again. What did they... Oh, they must have put Elixir of Immortality back on top of the library with Jace, and then shuffled thanks to the fetch, and then tutored it up again with the Trinket Mage, so doing a lot of juggling with that Elixir. We're missing haste on Old Gnawbone, unfortunately, missing haste on all of our creatures as it stands. So pretty much the only thing we can do here, I think, is Old Gnawbone and force them to unsummon. So we'll shock in the Stomping Ground. Once again, if we can get out Marionette Master with a bunch of tokens, we might actually be able to do something, but I just don't think we're anywhere near fast enough here. So it's Old Gnawbone, and it probably gets destroyed or unsummoned during the next turn cycle. Hopefully Mana Crypt will help us. It does ball our opponent, so makes the Marionette Master a little bit more feasible. We can always add some power and toughness onto the Marionette Master with this as well, which will make it a 6 power creature. Playing another fetch out of the bin. They might just recast Ugin here and blow up the Old Gnawbone. Looks as though that's what they're doing, so out comes Ugin again. Out comes the now Spellbomb again. Swinging in with Trinket Mage because they want that to go back into the graveyard so that they can recast it. Now I'm morbidly curious why they're swinging in with this. They might have some means of buffing their Muldrotha. Whatever, we'll just let them hit us. I want to force them to minus down on Ugin on the Old Gnawbone. Okay, they were going for Damnation anyway. So getting a card into hand. Playing the Elixir of Immortality. Not sure why they wiped the board there, in all honesty. I think our opponent's durdling a little bit. They could have, like I said, just gone for the Ugin and blown up the Old Gnawbone and kept their board intact. Now Fate Sealing us with the Jace. Finally getting into a haste creature, that is Grand Warlord Rada. So we'll try to stick the Commander once again. Swing in at the Ugin. Make another treasure token. Managing to hit Ugin, surprisingly. Brainstorm with Jace. Making another Spirit token. Nature's Law. They did shock themselves with a Breeding Pool there. That is Spellseeker, likely goes for a counterspell. And it is Arcane Denial. Ashiok mills us and exiles us again. And okay, there we go. Draw into a Bayou, so we can go for Toski and the Grand Warlord Rada here. So let's see if we can make them go for the counterspell on Warlord Rada. We can. So I think it might be better to try and buff our commander, make it more difficult for them to make blocks, and also this will be good to have in play for if we can eventually land the Marionette Master. Not going to swing in here because they'll just double block us. Playing a Memory Deluge. So look at the top X cards, where X is 4 in this instance, 2 into your hand, the rest on the bottom. We draw 2 cards with the Arcane Denial. Oh, actually we only draw 1 thanks to the Narset. But that was a Plumb the Forbidden, which might be useful on our opponent's turn to draw 1 extra card. Brainstorm once again from Jace. Minusing down on the Ashiok again. Another Spirit token with Ugin. And now it is a dig through time. Can't help but think my opponent's playing with his food here. Discards a couple of lands to hand size, including Bojuka Bog and Strip Mine. We have a Kalane Reclusive Painter, so it's just a case of trying to bait out counter magic at this point. Play ourselves an Aurum Frostfang. That lands, so we'll play Kalane as well. And we're just passing the turn once again. They flash back the Memory Deluge, so it is look at the top 7 cards this time, 2 into hand. Getting bolted again, going down to 26. Brainstorm. They just cracked the Elixir of Immortality, so they go back up to 30 life. And now it's excellent. Glenalendra Archmage. Another Spirit with the Ugin. Alright, that might actually be able to do something. Flying in Haste can't be countered. Inferno. So, we go after Ugin with that, I think. Test them to see if they've got any interaction at all. Swing in at the Ugin, make a tap treasure. They can of course block with the Glenalendra Archmage, but that's one less negate that they can do to us. And it turns out that they've probably got removal anyway. That is a go for the throat. No point going for Plumb the Forbidden. We've already drawn a card this turn and can't draw another one thanks to the Narset. And Impulse, look at the top 4 cards. One in hand, the rest on the bottom. And Abrupt Decay goes on to our Kalane. Once again, no point in sacrificing that to Plumb the Forbidden. We can just cast Plumb the Forbidden at the end of the turn. Brainstorm. Ugin makes a Spirit. Muldrotha. Play Plumb the Forbidden and don't sacrifice any creatures. Draw ourselves into a Brushfire Elemental, which we can just send to its death next turn. Also, an Heroic Intervention, so problem is they get us on the swing back, don't they? Cast the Brushfire Elemental. We'll put a sword on the Ognis, and then we'll be able to make a couple of treasures here. We only need 5 treasures in order to win with the Marionette Master, which means we've got to get past counter magic and spot removal, which isn't likely to happen. Let's just swing in with the Brushfire. We'll swing in towards Ugin. Gets us another treasure. Might be further helped out by the Mana Crypt, but of course we're not. Brainstorm. Ugin pluses. Ashiok minuses down and likely gets recast again this turn because it did just die. So out it comes again. We've got 53 cards left in the library. Not sure if we've got any chance of drawing into Cavern of Souls. No, we have not because it's been exiled, so we can't name human with that. Snap Mage. They're aiming for Abrupt Decay, so likely going after the sword here, I would think. Noteworthy that they didn't block the Brushfire Elemental, so willing to let us come in with that again. They do aim their Decay at the sword. So now finally actually starting to swing in with stuff. I will block the Muldrotha and we'll take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. I'll be amazed if we can get this Marionette Master down. Now Spellbomb being cracked and black mana going into it, so 8 cards in hand. Replaying the Gnarl Spellbomb. And there it is an Uro, so they draw a card on entry, can get an extra land into play. Gain 3 life as well, which is relevant. Hopefully they don't replay the Uro. There's a Tech Edge, which could be relevant. Allowing us to get through here though. We've got another land in Polluted Delta, which could make all the difference. So Brushfire Elemental going to get +2/+2. The Heroic Intervention actually pretty useless thanks to a Glenalendra Archmage being in play. So yeah, we just have to try and slam down the Marionette Master basically. Let's swing in and make some more treasures here, which are going to come in tap, so I don't think it's really all that relevant. Really just giving our opponent some card advantage with the Spirit tokens. But we'll tap out and encourage them to actually take us out next turn, because it's been a very, very slow and grindy one. Double blocking our commander, so that could get some extra interaction into their hand. It probably does, knowing this deck. I'll deal a bit more damage to them with Polluted Delta. Oh, of course, we can't search our library, can we? Thanks to this, so yeah. Apparently not. Do get to lightning bolt them at least. Yes, go back to the command zone. Card back into their hand. And let's just try this Marionette Master and see it get countered. Okay, lands. Are they going to blow it up in response? Apparently not. Plus counters. Unfortunately, we don't have enough treasure tokens to actually do anything to them here. If we had kept the Sword of Feast and Famine, we would have. Because that would have added 2 damage per treasure we just sacrificed. Might as well throw out the Toski with the mana we just made. Don't think we can survive through our next turn. They might get bolted by the Mana Crypt. If we do survive, then we can just crack these 2 and win. But they're not going to get bolted here anyway, I bet. Yep. They stay at 9 life. It's noteworthy that if we'd actually been able to landfall with this, then we would have dealt 2 extra damage to them and they would have been within range of this. But I'm confident that they'll be able to get rid of it, or just straight up win this turn, hopefully. Sacrifice a permanent, gain a life, draw a card. Uro back into play for some more life gain, puts us out of range of having any shot of winning. Destroying our Marionette Master will force them to use the Alendra Archmage. They do use the Archmage. Please win. Replaying Uro. They can actually just turn in sideways at us here. No cards in hand, no mana available to us. Alright, and eventually cottoning on. So not going to bother blocking. Eventually this game comes to an end. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Didn't manage to do too well with Ognis in that second game, but I hope you all got some enjoyment from it regardless. Massive thank you to the patrons for supporting the channel. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.